to play Rolling Heights. I'm super excited to show you guys this game. It's by AG. Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Not yet. They have to subscribe first.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana.
All right. Now I'll tell them about it. Rolling Heights is a 2023 release, so it's brand new. This has got a rating currently on Board Game Geek of 7.8 and a rank of 3,798. 1 to 4 players, 45 to 60 minutes. I don't believe it, but that's what they have on the box. We played it, and it took a lot longer than that with a 4-player game. So, but then,
Well, we do have a lot of people that are very dedicated in making different choices.
But even then, I don't think 45 to 60 is probably...
For a two player, maybe.
Yeah. Ages 14 and up, probably don't need it to be, but it's not going to hurt. I mean, it's not... There's a lot of... I'm
actually more concerned about people knocking over the buildings at the younger ages.
Oh, I'm more concerned about the older ages like me that are having jittery hands.
I think every single person knocked over something during this game.
Yeah, but you all had like buildings that were 20 stories tall. Mine were 3 stories and I was knocking them over.
Yeah.
Design is by John D. Clare. Art is by Kwanchai Moriah. Published by AEG Games, and MSRP is $79.99. It's a little pricey, but you do get a lot of little bits that are like Legos, and Legos are pricey, so...
I'm not mad about the price.
The Card House has this currently at $63.99, as does Miniature Market. Cheapest I found online was at Boardlandia for $55.99.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, it's not bad. And Cool Stuff is actually $59.99, so that's also not too bad.
Again, yeah, no, I'm not upset about the, where you can actually buy this for.
Yeah. So all right. And just to let you know, this is probably a light to medium, if not medium level, city building game. It's probably light to medium because there's not a lot of heavy rules. It's more about all the different variant rules on all the bonus tiles.
Yeah, and that one you just, look at the rule book. All right, so now let's talk about the actual components. So you do end up having these not quite Lego-like tiles, but essentially they're like they're just a little bit taller than your standard Lego. But, not only that, though, but you do have these tiles. They are linen finish, as is the board. There isn't any cards. Every player gets one of these really nice boxes, which I assume help with storage. And they're fully decorated, so for that, they did a great job for that. And then you've got your different color of meeples. So there are basic meeples, but they've got a very unique color palette, so they're not your standard. And they're not wood. They are,
They're plastic.
They're plastic. So overall, though, I'm actually really happy with this. I'm probably going to give this an 8.5. I think they did a great job.
I'm probably going to give it a 7.5. And the main reason why are the scoring markers. As nice as everything else is, scoring markers are good quality, but they don't stack. They didn't, these are all interlocking. I don't know why they didn't make a larger interlocking tile for the bonus, because when you're on the same score, they all stand up on top of each other, and they're easy to topple. They're kind of rounded edges and slick, and they don't stand up on top of each other very well. Easy to knock over. And, as far as everything else, it's okay. I mean, there's nothing that just wows you until you see the table presence, which I think is more theme in this game.
Well, I don't know. To be able to create this kind of presence, you almost kind of have to have quality components.
Well,
everything it does. Well, everything has the linen finish. Everything. I think they did a good job here.
They did.
All right, guys. So let's move on to theme.
Yeah.
You are building a city, and you have got to pick your projects, place them on the board of where you're going to do it. You get bonuses for different locations, depending on what you're building. Overall, I think they did a wonderful job. Resource management is a little bit luck-based, and I think...
it's intentionally luck-based.
Right, so basically, you're rolling meeples.
Which is super cool.
And so with that, though, the theme-wise is depending on what people's work ethic are, right? And that's whether it's standing down or laying flat.
Or on your side. Apparently, it's, you're capable of using a hammer when you're lying on your head.
Only slightly. But that all depends on the resources that you get based on the worker's motivation to do a good job for you.
Worker.
Yeah, and the type of worker. So overall, I like city building, so I really like this theme. I think they did a great job. I think the art's really great. Like I said, they decorated even the storage components. I mean, everything really suited. Yeah. I think they did a great job for this, so I'm going to give it 8 for theme.
Yeah, I like that they took the tile, kind of the structure of like the suburbia layout as far as the tiles functionality, and they combined it with the pass the pigs, where you roll the pigs and they land, or however they land gives you whatever ability. I thought that was really cool integration. But it works well. I mean, you've got this press your luck element that is in the game where you roll until you decide to bow out, or if you could potentially bust in this. So busting isn't a total failure for you, which is good. I think it's a pretty board presence, and I like the fact that there's variability where there's 2 sides on the various boards. And depending on player count, you're all going to play on A or B or a mixture of the two. I thought the art was fine. I didn't think it was anything outstanding, but I thought each of the individual tiles being named and the fact that they all have different appearances on them cosmetically, and the fact that they had clear placement of the different buildings on them, and when you lay it all out on this table, it looks like a city. I think it does a great job. I'm going to probably go ahead and give this one, from a thematic standpoint, probably a 9.
Okay, awesome. All right, so now let's move on to the actual rule book. Now, how did you feel about the rule book?
As far as the rule book goes, the rule book, it doesn't have a full cover. It's got a partial corner cover, and then it goes into the components. It's got a picture of the components, but they're not actually named, which, I guess they got the names of the components on the side, but they don't match them up with the pictures. So you got pictures and names that are separate. Then you have a nice setup where it's got the layout and everything. The rule book itself is 12 pages long, good sized pages. It's not a hard read at all. The hardest part was that they left out some of the details of the tiles. So there were a lot of questions we had about the bonus tiles, and they only have basically a clarification on some of the buildings and some of the ads. But they were missing the ones that we needed for this particular game, so I had to go online to find them, which is not good. But as far as the actual rulebook itself, it's clear, it's nice. The pictures are helpful, the examples are helpful, and the text is laid out in a good manner as far as teaching the game, basically walking you through the phases of it and your various choices that you can make on your turn. And, I'll probably go ahead and give this, even though you had to go online for a few things, I'll probably go ahead and give it an 8.
Okay, cool. All right, so now let's move on to the actual gameplay. So the gameplay, at the beginning of the game, you are given 2 brown and 1, I guess, gray meeple.
And they represent carpenters are the brown, and the gray is the construction worker. So they generate cement and wood.
Okay. So for my turn, I'm going to roll these 3. So all of them are currently laying flat. So I need to roll them again. And so I'm going to keep rolling up until now. So I have 2 that are standing up completely and 1 that's standing up on the side. Roll. I did actually roll pretty great.
Technically, as you play, everybody can do this simultaneously or on after they complete their turn as cleanup, so you don't have as much downtime. It doesn't really take that much time, though.
I do think it really ended up speeding up the game when we started doing that, though, because we were able to kind of plan a little bit on what we were capable of doing.
So I've got 2 on their sides. I've still got 1 lying down. I can choose. Now that I have over half of my people out, I can stop here, or I can keep pressing my luck and hoping that I get all of them in a position where they're going to give me something. And I busted because I rolled another horizontal.
So what happens when you bust?
So when you bust, you lose half of your ones that would give you resources or abilities, rounding down. So if I had 3, I would lose 1 still. And then as a side bonus, I get one of these wild tokens that gives me any choice of resource that I need. It's also worth a victory point if you don't use it at the end of the game. So in this case, it didn't harm me any really because I was going to get 2 anyway. So I still get 2 resources.
So that is something you can consider at the very beginning. Sometimes pressing your luck at the very beginning is totally worth it. All right, so now I get to actually take my turn. So because I have 2 that are actually standing the right way up, I get 2 resources for those. So in this case, I'm going to take 2 green and 3 brown. I'm demolishing this guy. Sorry. Okay, I'm taking these 3. All right. So
normally you would only take from the pool. You don't destroy somebody's buildings.
Yeah, I know, but we were out of round.
This was a finished game.
Right. All right. So basically, I have these now. What I don't have a tile I can place right now, so I'm going to be looking at tiles to purchase. Now I can only purchase 1 tile every round. Now there's a couple of things. So this is level 1 buildings, and on this side are level 2. The level 2 are obviously more expensive and have more. What is it?
Victory points.
Victory points.
Sometimes they'll give you.
They have the harder material. So like we need other meeples because if you'll notice there are blue blocks and there are window blocks and things like that. And we don't have those workers to generate. So I want to look at something to be able to have a worker that will generate some of these things. Now, I do know that I have wood and concrete in front of me. And like this one right here that cost me 1, ends up using concrete and I do get a window. So, but the cost is 1. So I'm going to end up spending 1. Okay, and I'm going to be able to take this building and I'm going to be able to place it for free if there's anywhere adjacent unless there's an additional cost. So for an example, since I'm right here and this is adjacent, I could place here for free. However, if I wanted to maybe place a little bit further away from me, I could end up charging 1 additional cube per location away I am from my original, or not original, but from an adjacent thing. So I'm going to place this right here. Okay, now I have 2 gray I can place right now on this building. Woohoo. Okay, but then I have these 2 wood left over. Now I can't place the 2 wood. Now what I could do is I could end my turn now and then these ended up getting destroyed. But however, there is a function in the game where if you have 2 cubes, you can change it for any other cube. So I'm going to take these.
Well, you can change it for any other of the basic resources.
Yes.
You can't trade it in for steel.
Right. So I'm going to change, I'm going to turn those 3 in, or 2 in, and I'm going to end up getting me a gray, which then allows me to complete that building. Okay. So I'm going to put my marker on it. And then I'm going to take the meeple that it says on the thing, which in this case is a clear meeple. Okay. And then I get 1 victory point. Okay. So that is how your turn goes. Now, you'll keep going around the table until one of the resources is completely gone. And then that triggers the final phase. The final phase is you finish the round, so everyone's to make sure. So you do need to notate who the first player was.
Stays the same throughout the game. There's a little cardboard marker in the game for it. We just didn't assemble it. We just used a little stuffed stone.
Yeah. And then you finish that, but then you get an additional round. So you have a little bit to kind of make sure you end things the way you would like to. I hate games that kind of abrupt finish. That doesn't happen here, which I really appreciated. Overall, that's the game. The other thing to mention is that there are end of game victory points that are hidden. You have 2 tiles, you choose, you keep the 2 tiles, you don't choose at the beginning of the game, it's at the end of the game you choose one. So it's kind of nice, you can kind of work on both and figure out, okay, well, I actually get more points on this one. And then there's also in-game victory points up here in the corner that everyone's kind of after. So just kind of keep that in mind. On top of, you get victory points for finishing buildings, locations if they match the right icon, as well as some of the meeples will end up giving you victory points because that's what they produce. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this game. Mm-hmm. I actually really, really enjoyed it. I think we'll definitely be playing this one again.
Yeah.
I find it super fun and definitely right up my alley as far as resource management. There's a little bit of luck, which sometimes bugs the crap out of me. But in this case, I don't think it's that bad. I think you can mitigate some of the luck.
I think the biggest detriment for the game is the fact of the setup. There's a ton of pieces, so you have to separate out all the different colors.
That's where you're going to have to get little Ziploc baggies. And
you'll want to separate, but even then, you're still dumping a ton of bags, and you're going to have a lot of little bowls or something to put them in.
Yeah, but I don't set up. That's your job.
Yeah, I know. So it took a while to get everything out and set it up from the box. I mean, it's not a quick game to get it to the table.
No, but I think it's absolutely a blast and absolutely worth doing it. Score wise, I really liked it. I'm at an 8.5, maybe a 9. Let me play it again and I'll. Oh, and I had purple, so definitely a 9. Yeah. I had my color. So, what's your score?
I'm just thinking 8.5 to 9. I'm probably going 8.5 because they took away blue. So, honestly, I mean, I think it's an 8.5. Is right where I'm at. It's a really good game. This is. I was very pleasantly surprised with this game. I wasn't sure how good it was going to be. I liked the concept of the meeple rolling when I saw it, and I knew you like city building games, and I'm like, well, hopefully it'll be fun. It reminds me of a little bit of Suburbia. It reminds me a little bit of Whistle Mountain.
Suburbia, no.
Well, the tile placement and the fact that it triggers things based upon the tiles adjacent to it.
Okay, maybe. But...
Yeah, it's you don't have the the economics portion of
Suburbia. Is a little dry for me. This is not dry.
No, this one is definitely a light city builder, but it just there's a lot of thinking as far as how to place it strategically. Where do you want to assign your resources each turn? And the fact that there's bonus tiles available for you to snag. You want to snag them before the other players do, because anytime you choose a tile from the side of the board that isn't one of the first two, you add a tile to one of the bonus tiles.
But sometimes the buildings that really aren't that great, and you're like, oh. And
sometimes you want that one that's way down there, even though you're going to pay more resources for it.
You got to do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. So I really did have a blast. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We had a great time tonight, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.